Incredible journey, poor girl discovered drunk millionaire CEO in trash. What happened next is he. Lily had seen her fair share of struggles, but that night felt different. The city was alive with its usual chaos, vibrant yet desperate, painted in the neon glow of shop signs and the distant sound of sirens. As she rifled through a dumpster behind a restaurant searching for discarded food, she came across something that made her stop cold. There, curled up in a nest of garbage bags, was Jack the millionaire CEO, notorious for his ruthless take-no-prisoners approach to business, now reduced to a shadow of himself, reeking of whiskey and despair. She almost walked away, disgust bubbling up. But then something else tugged at her heart, a flicker of vulnerability. Against all odds, she helped him, pulling him out of the filth that trapped him. The echoes of her family's struggles flashed through her mind, the school bills, her mother's sickness, her siblings' pleading eyes. She couldn't let another person drown in their despair, even if that person was the epitome of wealth. Lily took Jack to her tiny apartment, the walls adorned with makeshift artwork by her younger siblings, and a faint aroma of hope lingering in the air. She made him sit at the kitchen table, a chipped formica relic from better days, and handed him a glass of water. As he stirred awake, the realization of their worlds collided with a heavy thud. He took in the peeling paint, the scratched surfaces, the constant reminder of struggle. "What happened?" Jack mumbled, squinting at her. She noticed the lines etched into his forehead, the hunched posture that came from too much worry or perhaps too much success that felt hollow. "Where am I?" "A safe place," she responded, her voice steady. You passed out in a dumpster." A silence stretched between them, filled with all the things their worlds had taught them about each other. Jack's life was plush, filled with shiny cars and luxury suits, yet here he sat, stripped of pretense and buried in burdens of unfulfillment. Conversely, Lily had few possessions but an overflowing heart that warmed the cold, hard realities. Just as laughter began to fill the air, a phone call shattered the moment her mother was in the hospital. Panic washed over her as she listened to the voice on the other end. Bills piling up, debts looming like dark clouds. That evening, while Jack gripped the edge of the table, she felt as if the walls were closing in. How could they bridge their worlds when hers was crumbling? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. The days passed, and hope flickered between them, igniting a bond neither expected. Lily inspired Jack, giving him glimpses into a world fueled by resilience and laughter. But shadows tightened around her family like a vice. Could she ask for his help? Would it betray her principles? She wrestled with the thought, caught between two disparate paths that seemed destined to collide. Just then, disaster struck in the neighborhood. An eviction notice hung like a storm cloud over everyone's heads, drawing people into the streets like moths to a flame. Panic escalated, and Jack stood watching, a man powerful enough to incite change but shackled by his past decisions. Meanwhile, Lily felt her heart pounding, feeling the weight of the people she loved. Could their growing friendship withstand the pressure of a community on the brink? Would Jack choose redemption, or would fear hold him back? As they faced this moment, both stood at the edge of a decision that could redefine everything. The neighborhood had begun to change, but would they rise together, or see their worlds pull apart forever? Lily paced the small living room, her thoughts racing. The eviction notice glared at her from the kitchen table, a symbol of all she feared. Just a few feet away, Jack stared out the window, oblivious to the weight of her dilemma. He watched as neighbors gathered in the street, hushed voices spilling into the air, worries etched on their faces. "What is going on out there?" he finally asked, breaking the silence. It looks bad, Lily replied, her voice trembling. People are fighting to hold on to their homes. They're scared, and angry. It's like a wave of hopelessness is ripping through the neighborhood. Jack turned to her, concern flashing across his features. What can we do? Her heart sank at the question. He had the power, the resources to help, yet she was terrified of what that meant for her. Could she really ask him to step into her world? Would he understand the stakes? I don't know, she whispered. I don't want to burden you with my problems. You have your own life. His gaze softened, and he stepped closer, his presence intently focused on her. You saved me, Lily. Now I want to help. You deserve that. So does your community. For the first time since she pulled him from the dumpster, hope flickered brightly. But how? This isn't just about money. It's about people, their lives. Jack nodded, and his expression held a fierce determination that made her pulse quicken. Exactly. We can raise awareness. I can organize a fundraiser, something big enough to shift the conversation. Maybe even a community event. Lily felt an unexpected swell of excitement, mixed with trepidation. You really think that could work? I have connections. Partners who can help us get the word out. But I need to know you're with me. His intense gaze seemed to lock her into this moment, as if they were two ships about to set sail into an unknown sea. She took a deep breath, weighing the implications. The thought of Jack stepping into her life made her heart pound. But if they were going to bridge their worlds, she needed to trust in the unknown. Okay, she whispered, surprising even herself with the strength of her voice. I'm in. But we can't just focus on raising money. We need to listen and understand what people really need. A smile broke across his face, and it melted away the doubt swirling inside her. They could do this, they could stand for something together. The following days were a whirlwind of planning and brainstorming. Lily introduced Jack to her neighbors, her friends. Once just a disconnected millionaire, he became wrapped in their stories, seeing mothers cry over lost jobs, children worried about the future. Yet, amidst the rising tide of hope, shadows lingered. Jack's past loomed large, constantly reminding him of why he felt undeserving of this fresh chance. One evening, after a long day of organizing, he confided in her. I didn't just lose my job. I lost myself. Being wealthy, it was a cover. I didn't know what it meant to care until now. Her heart ached for him. We all have our battles, Jack. We'll get through yours, just like we're going to get through mine. Just as they began to solidify their plans, the tension outside ignited. A protest unfolded on their street, escalating from anger to chaos as eviction notices turned to confrontations. Lily's heart raced, fear gripping her. Come on! She shouted over the noise. They rushed outside, adrenaline pumping. In that feverish moment, as they stepped out into the swirling crowd, something inside Lily clicked, a realization that their future hinged on this very moment. Together. But how far would she be willing to go to ensure that hope survived against the odds? As they drew closer to the heart of the turmoil, everything felt precarious. Would they be able to channel this energy into something constructive, or would the emotions spiral out of control? The streets buzzed with uncertainty, and so did her heart. The world was shifting, and so were they. The question lingered in the air: could they really inspire change, or would their efforts be swallowed by the storm? As they stepped into the uncontrolled chaos of shouting voices and raised fists, Lily's heart raced. She could feel the fear threading through the crowd, igniting both anger and desperation. Jack gripped her hand tightly, the warmth of his touch oddly grounding amidst the turmoil. Stay close. He shouted over the din, pulling her towards the front where the protesters were rallying against the looming threat of eviction. Their frustration was palpable, mingling with the sense of unity that had brought them all together. Lily's mind swirled. This wasn't just an abstract battle for a home anymore, it was real and visceral. Faces she recognized, friends and neighbors, were pleading for their stories to be heard. The emotions were raw, and they felt like a surge of electricity coursing through the crowd. "People need to feel seen," she said to Jack, pulling him in closer. "Let us share their stories. Let us show them what's at stake." He nodded, determination setting his jaw tight. "Let us get a platform. A place where their voices can't be ignored." They turned their attention to the center of the crowd, where a local activist was trying to take charge. "We need to make noise. It's time to speak up," she yelled, and people began to chant. The rhythm of their voices filled the air fierce and unwavering. It was a collective cry for justice. Together, Lily and Jack made their way toward the makeshift stage. It was shaky, an old wooden crate, but it was enough for what they needed. With a deep breath, Lily climbed up first, her heart racing in sync with the chants from below. "Everyone, listen," she called out, raising her voice above the crowd. She glanced at Jack, who stood firm beside her, a look of reassurance encouraging her to go on. "We are not just faces on a notice. We are families, friends, and we fight for our homes. We deserve to be heard." The crowd quieted, and she could feel the intensity of their eyes on her. The vulnerability was overwhelming but strangely empowering. Adrenaline rushed through her veins, the weight of everything she stood to lose fueling her fire. Jack took the floor next, stepping forward confidently. "I know many of you feel hopeless," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "But I was once lost myself, standing on the other side of fear. We can work together to shift the narrative. I want to help, really help. We will not be defeated." The crowd erupted again, this time with renewed hope. People began sharing their stories in fragments, voices overlapping, a beautiful yet chaotic symphony of emotion. Some spoke of lifelong neighbors facing eviction, while others recounted tales of struggling single parents. Each story was a thread, weaving them into a collective tapestry of strength. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over their gathering, Lily felt a sense of warmth spreading in her chest. They were no longer alone, there was power in their voices together. Yet even within this spark of connection, Lily couldn't shake a lingering fear. Was this the calm before a larger storm? How would the authorities respond? Suddenly, a cacophony of sirens blared in the distance, cutting through the moment. A wave of nervous murmurs washed over the crowd. The urgency was electric, the protest was shifting from a gathering of solidarity to a standoff with unknown consequences. "Just breathe," Jack whispered, his proximity a familiar comfort as they exchanged a worried glance. But they both knew they had come too far to turn back now. The moment felt fragile yet monumental. Would they push forward, or would reality settle in and silence their voices? One thing was clear: this was just the beginning of a fight that would test their resolve and commitment. What price would they have to pay in their quest for justice? And would they be prepared for the battles that lay ahead? The sirens grew louder, a heart-stopping reminder that they might soon face the very authorities they protested against. Lily's pulse quickened, each beat bringing with it a flood of uncertainty. The crowd felt tense, a giant wave gathering strength, and she could see the hesitation written on so many faces. "Jack," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if they come here? What do we do?" He didn't hesitate. "We stand together. We're not just going to back down." The activist on stage, caught in the same whirlwind of emotions, called for calm. "We've got to stay united. They can't break us if we refuse to be silenced." But Lily could see the shifting expressions, fear mixed with defiance, doubt layered over resolve. As the sirens announced their approach, Lily felt the need to re-engage the crowd. "Let us send a message," she shouted, raising her fist. "This isn't over. We need to show them we are not afraid." The crowd began to chant again, and the vibrations of their voices felt like armor surrounding her. "Not afraid. Not afraid. Echoed back, and with each repetition, the fear in her heart lessened. Jack squeezed her hand, his expression matching hers, determined yet apprehensive. Suddenly, from the periphery, a line of police officers appeared, their uniform infiltrating the space they had carved out for their fight. Tension gripped the air, and it felt like a rubber band stretched to its limit. The crowd's chants faltered momentarily, voices wavering as they tried to gauge their next move. "Show them we're not just noise," Jack shouted. "We are a community." The chant picked up again, louder and bolder. "We are a community. We are a community." Bodies shifted closer, arms raised high, fists standing together like a fortress against the approaching wave. Lily felt courage swell within her chest. "This is it," she thought. "This is what we fought for." But the officers stepped forward, their expressions unreadable. "This crowd is unlawfully assembled. Disperse immediately or face arrest," one officer barked into a megaphone. The words cut through the pulsating energy, sending ripples of uncertainty through the crowd. "Stay put," a voice called back. It was one of her neighbors, a woman with a fire in her belly. "This is our home, our fight. No one can take that from us." With her words came a wave of support, and Lily felt the crowd's resolve solidify once again. They chanted even louder, fueling each other's determination. "People are being silenced every day. We have to fight for those who can't." But the sirens blared louder, drowning out their chants. The officers advanced, their line growing thicker. Lily's heart sank. What if they tried to push her back? What if someone got hurt? Suddenly, a commotion erupted to her left. A man with a camera had jumped forward, capturing the moment. "This is history," he shouted. "We have to make sure the world knows what's happening here." Lily's eyes met Jack's, a silent agreement passing between them. They weren't just fighting for their homes, they were building something bigger, a movement that could resonate beyond these streets. But in that moment of clarity, regret seeped in. What sacrifices would they have to make? Would they lose themselves in the fight for justice? Amidst the chaos, another siren wailed, black shadows looming closer. Just then, a loud bang erupted nearby, a flash from a canister. Confusion erupted, people screamed, and the air thickened with panic. "What is happening?" Lily exclaimed, feeling another wave of fear wash over her. Jack pulled her close, eyes wide. "We need to stick together. Don't let go of my hand." The crowd began to scatter, chaos unfolding before their eyes. Panic ignited a firestorm of uncertainty. Would they hold their ground, or would fear pull them apart? As she gripped Jack's hand tighter, Lily realized the stakes were higher than they had ever imagined. She opened her mouth to shout, but the crowd was already splitting, unsure of what came next. Lily felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her, a mountain of uncertainty and fear threatening to crush her spirit. The crowd was fracturing, people darting in all directions, and the deafening noise of chaos mixed with the sirens made her stomach twist. "Jack!" she shouted, trying to pull him through the frenzy, but the pressure of the crowd surged around them like a tide. "We can't get separated." "Right!" he yelled back, his voice steady even as the world spun into confusion. He pulled her closer, creating a small bubble of safety amid the chaos. But the air around them felt charged and electric, filled with the potential for danger. They turned to face the line of police officers, now moving in tighter formation, their expressions unreadable, their intentions a mystery. "We're not going to give up," Jack said, determination etched in his features. Lily looked at his fierce resolve and drew strength from it, but her heart raced with dread. What if they start pushing? What if someone gets hurt? "We can't let that happen." "Then we stand our ground," he replied, his grip unwavering. There was something grounding about his presence. She focused on the beat of their hearts, synchronized in their mission. In that moment, a woman broke through the crowd, spearheading a new chant, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We are strong. We will not back down." Her fervor ignited renewed energy, and soon others joined her. "Together. Together." The crowd echoed, a wave of unity surging through them. Lily felt a fire ignite within her too. Despite the fear, there was something powerful about standing against the tide. They weren't just individuals, they were a collective voice, an unyielding force. "Look!" Jack pointed into the fray, the cameras. The man with the camera was still recording, his voice rising above the turmoil, capturing the moment for everyone outside the chaos to see. Lily considered how they were fighting for more than themselves, how their resilience could inspire change beyond these streets. But just as hope fluttered in her chest, another explosion occurred. A barrage of pepper spray-fueled smoke tore through the air. People gasped, some stumbling backward, their eyes stinging and faces contorted in shock. The scene morphed from a show of defiance to a desperate struggle for air. "It's coming this way," Jack shouted, trying to shield Lily from the thickening haze. "We need to get out of here." "No!" she gasped, the panic surging again. "We can't leave now. We have to stay." His eyes widened as he assessed the chaos, the crowd spiraling in fear, their voices muffled by the stinging air. "Lily, listen. If we want to fight another day, we need to save ourselves." For a second, doubt washed over her. Would leaving mean they were abandoning their cause? Or was it a necessary step to regroup and fight smarter? I don't want to go," she said, her voice trembling. Jack's grip tightened on her hand. "We can come back. We can keep fighting if we make it out. We don't have to lose hope." In that moment, she realized certainty was a luxury they couldn't afford. Survival came first, and from there, they could rebuild. Taking a deep breath, she nodded. "Okay, let us go." They started to move, pushing their way through the crowd while dodging chaos and confusion. The world felt surreal, as if she were in a movie playing out in fast forward. She could barely breathe, but determination spurred her on, the thought of what they were fighting for burning bright in her mind. As they reached the edge of the crowd, Lily stole a final glance behind her, feeling a pang of sorrow. They were leaving their friends, their battle. But the fire within her had been tempered, reshaped into something resilient. Next time, she promised to herself, "We'll come back stronger." But as they broke free and into the open air, the lingering question echoed in her mind. How would they regroup? What would be their next step? With these thoughts racing, a new plan began to form, intertwining with the fear and hope that had filled her heart. Lily stumbled into the cool night air, gasping as the spiced stench of the chaos slowly faded. Jack pulled her along, the distant sirens still howling behind them, but the world felt different now. Clearer. The din of voices morphed into whispers, the urgency of the moment softening just a bit. "Are you okay?" Jack looked into her eyes, concern etched deep on his brow. I think so," she murmured, blinking hard to clear the burning sensation from her eyes. It was just the lingering effects of the chaos, or perhaps the heat of adrenaline still coursing through her veins. She took a deep breath, allowing the cool air to fill her lungs. "Let us find a place to talk," he suggested, glancing around. The street seemed deserted beyond the crowd they just escaped, spotty light flickering from lampposts casting shadows that danced like phantoms. They ducked into a nearby alley, the walls lined with graffiti that seemed to tell stories of its own. As they leaned against the cool brick, Lily felt a wave of frustration hit her. What now? They're not just going to let this go. They'll come back. We'll need a strategy. "I know," Jack said, his voice steady, "but we need to regroup. Let us find some of our friends." "I hope they got out too," she replied, her stomach twisting at the thought of anyone still caught in the fray. Just then, her phone buzzed. It felt like a lifeline. She fumbled, pulling it from her pocket, dread creeping in her chest. A flood of messages poured in from her friends, their frantic texts a painful reflection of the chaos they had just escaped. "They're okay," she said, relief washing over her. "Anna and Mike made it out." "Good." Jack smiled, the tension easing in his shoulders. "We can connect with them." "Yeah, but how?" "I mean, the stuff we were fighting for it still stands, right? It hasn't changed just because we're out here." Jack rubbed the back of his neck, thoughtful. "You know, if we want to have an impact, we may need to rethink our methods. Maybe going back isn't the only way." "What do you mean?" "What if we use social media? Get our message out there in a way that brings people together instead of just shouting in protests." Lily's mind raced as she contemplated his words. "But what if that doesn't work? What if people just ignore us? Or what if it reaches someone who really cares?" He stepped closer, conviction in his eyes. "Sometimes change starts in unexpected ways. Maybe we can ignite a fire beyond this chaos." Lily bit her lip, considering. There were so many voices, any one of them could be the one to spark something bigger. Still, doubt lingered. "But it feels small, like we're backing down." "Not backing down. Just being smart about it. We can't ignore the anger and pain anymore, but maybe we can channel it better." His words sparked something within her. The fire that had once been just a flicker now roared to life. "All right," she agreed, determination flooding back. "Let us draft a post. If we can reach those still fighting, maybe we can turn this into a movement." Jack grinned, and for a moment, they shared the lightness of realization. They weren't just fleeing chaos, they were building hope from the ashes. But just as they began to strategize, a sudden noise echoed from the opening of the alley, the sound of footsteps, heavy and approaching. "Jack," Lily whispered, a knot tightening in her stomach as shadows loomed closer, her heart beating fast. Were they about to step back into chaos again? "No, stay close," he murmured, worry lacing his tone. The footsteps stopped at the mouth of the alley, and figures began to emerge. Were they friends or foes? Immediate danger or unexpected allies? As the air thickened with uncertainty once more, she felt her mind racing. Who was coming? And what would it mean for their fledgling plan? In that moment of suspense, one question lingered: were they about to find hope, or was trouble lurking right around the corner? Lily held her breath as the figures stepped closer, the shadows thickening like a curtain drawn against the stage light. Jack's hand tightened around hers, their fingers intertwining for a split second before the first face came into view. It was Anna, her hair tousled and her eyes wide. "Lily." "Jack," she exclaimed, relief washing over her. "We were looking for you." Behind Anna, Mike emerged, appearing just as shaken but unbroken. "What were you guys thinking? We thought you were still in there." Lily's heart began to steady with the familiar faces. "We barely made it out. But we need to talk, there's more to do than just survive." "Talk? About what?" Mike asked, his brow furrowing in confusion. "About changing our approach," Jack jumped in. "We need to take our fight online, to rally people with our story. We can't go back to chaos, we need to channel it." Anna's eyes brightened. "That's actually brilliant. We've been recording everything on our phones, like what happened tonight. We can share it." "Just like that?" Mike's voice held a hint of skepticism. "You really think we can make a difference that way?" Lily squared her shoulders, her voice unwavering. "If we don't try, we'll be stuck waiting for someone else to take our place. We know what needs to change. But can we reach enough people? Will they listen?" he asked, doubt still lingering like a thick fog. Anna jumped in again, her enthusiasm contagious. "We start small, then go bigger. Use hashtags, get our friends involved, even local news. People have a fire in them right now, we just need to connect those flames. Lily exchanged glances with Jack. She could see it in their eyes, a shared determination. Okay, let us do it. But we need to be smart. We can't come off as angry, we need to inspire. The urgency of the moment fueled them. They gathered, crouching together in the dim light of the alley as they started planning out their post. As they brainstormed, shadows danced on the walls around them, reflecting their mix of hope and uncertainty. They threw out ideas, each one sparking new thoughts and insights. The life of the alley transformed. It felt less like an escape from chaos and more like the birthplace of a movement. But just as their momentum built, an unsettling sound broke through their intensity, a distant shout, then another. The sound grew closer, heavy boots crunching on gravel. Guys, they're coming. Jack's voice broke through the chatter, panic rising again. What do we do? Mike asked, glancing toward the alley's mouth where shadows seemed to multiply. We can't let them find us. We need a plan, Lily urged, her heart racing anew. They were on the brink of something big, but the fear of being caught was a quick reminder of the reality they were facing. As they moved deeper into the shadows, a sense of urgency filled the air. How could they act on their purpose if they couldn't stay safe? Just then, a thought hit Lily, sharp and clear. Wait. What if we set a trap? We could use the social media buzz as a distraction, get people talking about us in a different place. The others paused, their eyes igniting with the possibility. But could they pull it off? Fire crackled in Lily's chest again. They were at the edge of something incredible, but danger loomed. Could they dare to hope and act, or would they lose everything just as they started to take control? As the footsteps grew louder, they whispered among themselves, realizing they needed to make a choice. Would they step into the light or retreat back into the darkness? The question hung heavily in the air, waiting for an answer. The footsteps closed in around them, sharp and menacing. The shadows felt thicker, wrapping around Lily like a heavy cloak. She could sense the tension radiating from Jack beside her, his body coiling like a taut spring ready to snap. Mike's breathing hitched, while Anna glanced nervously toward the dark mouth of the alley, where danger lurked. Come on, guys, Lily whispered, trying to keep her voice steady. We need to find a way out of here. Which way? Jack whispered back, his eyes darting between their only route out and the approaching footsteps. Then it hit her. We could go through the back of the building. There's a service door. It might lead us into the parking lot. Are you sure? Mike shot back, skepticism lacing his voice. Not really, but it's better than waiting here, she replied, the urgency of her words pushing them into motion. Follow me. They rushed toward the back, movements quick and quiet, their hearts pounding like drums. Each beat echoed the fear that they could be discovered at any moment. When they reached the service door, it was locked. Panic threatened to bubble over, but Lily took a deep breath. We have to think, she said. There's got to be another way. Maybe we can break it down? Jack suggested, glancing around for anything to help. Lily's mind raced. No. We'll just draw more attention. We need to be smart. Stay low and quiet. But as they crouched there, voices began to ripple nearby, sharp and demanding. They strained to listen, scrunching closer together as they prepared for the worst. We've heard reports about a group. They can't be far from here, one voice asserted ominously. Spread out. They must be hiding somewhere, another added, the gravel crunching underfoot growing closer. A chill ran down Lily's spine. They couldn't get caught, not now, not when they were so close to igniting something bigger than themselves. What if they lost this chance? She turned back to her friends, their faces lit only by the faint light filtering in. Whatever we do, we can't show fear. We can't let them know we're here. Let us stay silent and wait until it's clear. Minutes felt like hours as they pressed against the cold brick wall. The footsteps moved past, continuing their search. Every second was a test of wills, dragging anxiety through the air like a fog. But then they faded. Now. Go. Lily urged, breaking away from the wall and sprinting toward the adjacent alley. The sudden freedom felt electric, exhilarating. As they emerged into the open area illuminated by a flickering streetlight, they paused, uncertainty creeping in again. What now? Mike panted, glancing at Lily, who was scanning the scene. Let us find somewhere safe to think, she said quickly. Somewhere we can plan. As they headed toward a nearby diner, a sense of shared purpose ignited in Lily's chest. They were scared, but for the first time, they had the power of their story behind them. They were more than just survivors, they were voices ready to be heard. When they collapsed into a booth, the diner felt like a fortress against the chaos outside. Jack pulled out his phone, flipping through footage they had captured, each image telling part of their journey. Okay, he began, the excitement coming back. We get everything onto social media, fuel the fire, maybe establish a campaign. This can really grow. What do we call it? Anna asked, her eyes sparkling with ideas. Lily leaned back, thought bubbling in her mind. They needed a name that encapsulated their fight, their strength. How about Voices Unchained? She proposed. Perfect, Jack said, grinning wide, as the shadows felt a little less threatening. But just as they felt hope blossom, the diner door swung open with a loud clang. They all turned as a group of figures stepped inside, scanning the crowd, and their eyes landed directly on theirs. Lily's heart dropped. Were they about to be discovered just as they started to make a mark? The question loomed over them like a storm cloud, ready to burst. Would they stand strong against the tide or be swept away? Lily could hardly breathe. The figures at the front of the diner looked like they were on a mission, eyes sharp and searching. Fear slithered through her veins. Stay cool, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Jack's expression shifted from excitement to dread in an instant. What do we do? He mouthed, already shifting his weight, preparing to bolt. Act natural, Lily urged, feeling her pulse race. She instinctively placed her fingers over the edge of the booth, clutching it like a lifeline. We just blend in, that's all. But blending in felt impossible. The diner was mostly empty, diner staples scattered across the worn tables, light reflecting off the chrome surfaces. In a place that usually buzzed with the sounds of frying food and clinking silverware, an eerie silence settled like a thick mist. The group moved closer, and Lily recognized one of them, Marcus, the local troublemaker. He had a reputation for causing chaos. Her stomach knotted at the thought of facing him again. If they had caught sight of her, there would be hell to pay. Let us move to the back, Anna whispered urgently, tilting her head toward the restroom area. Mike hesitated, his brow furrowed. What if they'll notice we're not here if we stay, she interrupted, pushing against the sticky upholstery to stand. She had to think fast, time was slipping away. As they slipped out of the booth, Lily kept her gaze on Marcus. He never looked away, his smirk growing when he spotted her. Hey! He shouted, pointing. There they are. Heart racing, Lily shot forward, dragging her friends with her. They dashed towards the bathroom, the door slamming behind them echoing in the quiet diner. What now? Jack said, his voice tense. Lily pressed her back against the door, eyes wide with panic. We need a plan, fast. Her mind spun, running through their options. They could escape out the back, but that led into the alley again. The same one they just left, where shadows were thicker than air. Can we climb out the window? Anna suggested, her voice shaking. Lily looked around, her heart in her throat. It's worth a try, she said. Anything is better than facing Marcus right now. They quickly pushed toward the single window above the sinks, but the anxious ticking of time gnawed at her. As they reached the window, hope surged momentarily until despair followed. It was sealed shut. "No!" she exclaimed, pounding her fist on the glass. "They'll be here any second." Jack took a step back, frantically scanning for any other means of escape but only met with tiled walls and empty stalls. "What if we distract them? I could create a scene." Before she could answer, another voice pierced through their desperate thoughts, a feminine shout startling them from the opposite side of the door. "Let me in. Hurry." A booming knock followed. Anna's eyes widened in recognition. "That's Sarah, my sister." She gasped. She must have seen what happened. Lily hesitated. "Are you sure she is safe?" "Absolutely," Anna replied, urgency bubbling in her voice. "She can help us." With a firm nod, Lily stepped aside, uncertainty hanging in the air. As Anna opened the door, the scene that unfolded could change everything. From outside, Marcus's voice threaded through the din, growing larger, searching. "Get back here. We know you're in there." Time hung heavily in the air. It could be their salvation or lead to their ruin. The question loomed as Anna's sister burst through the door: were they ready for whatever came next? The door swung open, and in rushed Sarah, her wide eyes glistening with fear but her spirit fierce. "Are you guys okay?" she asked, breathless. Before Lily could answer, Marcus slammed against the door, trying to force it open. "You think you can hide? Come out and face me." Panic surged through the small bathroom. Lily's mind raced. Sarah had burst in with hope, but would it be enough to change their fate? "Quick!" Jack urged. "What do we do?" "Hide," Anna said, pulling her sister back toward the far side of the stall. They squeezed together as closely as they could, willing their breaths to quiet. Marcus kicked the door again, the sound reverberating like thunder. "You can't run forever. We'll find you." Lily held her breath, the terrible grip of fear squeezing her heart. The door rattled violently, and she could just imagine Marcus's sneer on the other side, his intentions as dark as the growing shadows of the diner's corner. Then, a muffled voice behind the door called out, "Marcus. You need to leave. This isn't worth it." It was a friend of his, someone she recognized. The door paused as Marcus hesitated, the internal conflict evident. "Just give me a few minutes," he shouted back, but there was an edge of uncertainty in his voice. Lily dared to hope, maybe they could buy themselves time. A plan began to form in her mind. They could use this moment to turn the tide. "Sarah," she whispered urgently, "you're great on social media, right? We can create a distraction together, something that spreading online can pull the crowd instead of us hiding in here." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her brow furrowing with understanding. "I have an idea," Lily said, her heart pounding, excitement piercing through the fear. "Let us start spreading the word about what's happening outside. Photos, videos turn this chaos into our message." Without waiting for confirmation, Lily fumbled for her phone, its weight familiar and grounding. "We can hashtag it, make it go viral. We're not just fighting to survive, we can turn their hostility into awareness. We can do this. Yeah. If we can share it before the chaos closes in," Sarah said, her determination sparking along with Lily's. They huddled tighter, adrenaline pushing them into action. As Marcus pounded on the door again, they clicked away, their hearts racing in sync with the clicks of the camera. The swirl of chaos felt remote as a sense of purpose enveloped them. "Got it," Anna whispered, excitement bubbling. "Now get that posted quickly." Lily did, her fingers flying across the screen. The moment they pressed send, a collective energy filled the air, electrifying their spirits against the weight of uncertainty. They were stepping out of the shadows, pushing fear aside to embrace possibility. Just as hope flickered, Marcus shouted again, "Seriously, who do you think you're messing with? His impatience crackled like static, the tension thickening to breaking point. "Just a little longer," one of the boys outside replied. Yet the timid half-moment felt eternal, drawing every second into a maze of anxiety. Then, with one last shove, the door heaved open, and shouts erupted as he stumbled forward, his demeanor shifting from confident to furious in an instant upon seeing them hiding in the stall. "Caught you." But instead of backing down, Lily stepped forward, adrenaline pushing her past the edge of fear. "You know what? This doesn't just end here. Who cares?" He shot back, but the venom in his voice faltered when he realized they were armed with their phones and a movement of solidarity behind them. "Our community won back down. And we're about to make that loud and clear," she declared, her voice ringing with conviction, drowning out the noise. "So you can stomp around all you want, but we're taking this fight outside." Just then, the whole diner seemed to shift. The patrons, some witnessing the scene unfold, began pulling out their phones too, capturing every moment. It was turning into an unexpected spectacle, a clash of powers as the truth began to unravel. With renewed strength, Lily signaled to Sarah and Jack to spread the word. "Share about how change starts with us." The storm of uncertainty began to shift, the crowd outside growing heavy with anticipation over the encounter. Suddenly, Marcus's bravado faltered. "This isn't your fight. You don't want to make it worse." "Maybe. But this is our fight now," Jack called out, taking Lily's side. Before Marcus could respond, the sound of sirens roared back outside. The realization hit like lightning, adding urgency to their cause and giving them the power of mobilization. "Time to go," Sarah shouted without hesitation. As the rest of them surged forward, they slipped out of the bathroom and into the diner's open floor, the energy palpable. The air was electric as they moved together, hands clenched in unity. Each step felt like a beat of the drum, marching into the heart of their cause. They wouldn't fade into shadows, this was their moment to rise. In that charged atmosphere, they captured the raw emotion of the moment with another post, sending it out into the world. The screams, the fears, the collective strength. Lily turned to her friends. "This isn't just about us anymore. We're igniting something larger. It's time for change, and it's beginning right here in this diner." As they stepped closer to the window, she caught a glimpse of their friends awaiting outside, strengthening her determination. Fear would not claim their fight, instead, it would fuel their purpose. With hearts full and their voices unchained, they knew this was only the beginning. They harnessed the tides of a transformation that would ripple into the community, and together, they would emerge triumphant. As they rushed outside to join the movement, cheers erupted amid the streetlights. The battle was far from over, but they walked into the fight more alive than ever. Lily led the way, intertwined with hope, purpose, and the unwavering belief that together, they could change the world. Their voices rang loud and clear, fortifying their spirits. "Not just for us but for all of us." And in that moment, they stepped into the broader fight, igniting a movement that would echo through the streets, a promise of resilience surging as they embraced the power of community. The sky was the limit, and for the first time in a long while, Lily felt a stirring sense of victory rising in her soul. Their journey had just begun, and they were ready to embrace whatever came next. Now is the moment, folks. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this final stand. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let's keep this movement growing together.